Welcome to the GOBN Test, Middle of the Road Test live show. We're running one more. We got some things coming up, and I want to apologize for any kinks. I'm Tiger, and this is Peter.
How you doing, guys? I hope y'all can hear me this time. Hopefully we didn't mess that up this time. So, again, like Tiger said, this is a little test we're going to be doing. Hopefully we'll have a guest come in a little bit here. We're going to try and start off with some background stuff for right now and talk about whatever. I don't know what Tiger has on his mind tonight. If you guys have anything, please put it in the chat. I'm going to show you the chat functionality as well tonight. Hopefully once our guest comes on. I don't see him on right this second, so but we'll get it rolling here. So let's show you just the background we got here. We'll start with that. What do you got to talk about tonight there, Tiger?
Oh goodness, we've got all kinds of things going on out there in the world. A couple of things I wanted to bring it up. I've been pushing it out on Discord, but a couple of things that we got some good news here in Memphis. The barge traffic going under the Mississippi River I-40 bridge has been opened back up. There was right at 1,000 barges being held up. And I don't know, a lot of people may not realize this, but that Mississippi River is a huge transportation system with fuel, oil, grain, any kind of grains, and also some other types of goods, fertilizers, things like that, heading up towards the Midwest, and stuff coming down from the Midwest. So that got opened back up today. Barge traffic's back open. The bridge is still closed, which is causing a lot of disruption in traffic here in Memphis, but not only that, transportation, because, I-40 is that corridor east to west, and it goes from, good gracious, North Carolina all the way over to California. So with that being said, they're working on it. They called it a crack, right? A crack, and now pictures and images are now showing it's actually a major fracture in one of the main support beams of the bridge. They're not sure how long it's going to take to fix. But with that, we also have a lot of things going on over in Israel, plus different things going on in this country that, from day to day, it's one thing to the next. President Biden, he gave us permission if we've been vaccinated. Okay, to not have to wear a mask, okay? So I don't know where that came from, but I think I make my decisions for me. But anyway, it is what it is. A couple other things we've been looking at. I heard there was some tussling going on between AOC and Marjorie Green. I think Marjorie Green Taylor. There's some clips out there about AOC saying some stuff about her. So I'm sure that's going to be getting interesting in our Congress as usual. I call it the circus these days. But anyway, Peter, what you got for us, man?
Well, right now we're going to wait on our guest to get in. But
we need a caller.
I know. So what we're watching
here. Can we get a caller?
Is anybody jumping in the waiting room that wants to come on?
That's what I'm looking for. I don't see anybody in the waiting room right now. I'll pull them in and let you know.
What do you? Yeah, you can do that. What are your thoughts on what's going on in Gaza right now, man? I've been watching. So right now, what we're showing is the feed I did for January 6th. Luckily, they didn't remove it. YouTube didn't. It's on my channel though. In a little bit, I'll switch over to the Israel feeds and see what's going on there. But I just saw some rockets firing off. I don't know how that was going at the moment. You see any feeds right now that are good?
It looks the Stead. I don't know how you pronounce that. Steadcam Live or SteadVcam Live line or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's got it in the top right corner showing some, and it may be a replay from Israeli News. I think it was channel 13, Israeli News. Maybe doing a little bit of replay of some of the Iron Dome rockets going up to intercept some of those that stuff coming over from Gaza.
Let me see.
Yeah, it looks like it's a replay of something I watched earlier.
Yeah.
They're not showing too many protests or the civil unrest going on right now in that channel. Haven't seen very much else going on. But
let's see here.
They are definitely got some issues going on over there. So and it's sad. There's a lot of people, lives are being affected. We have our problems here. But, you know, from one day to the next, you don't know what's going to happen over in Israel, over in the Middle East altogether. 1 minute everything's good, the next minute you got air raid sirens going off because you got rockets coming in.
You see what?
And you just don't know what's going to happen. So I feel for those people.
Do you see what's going on in our chat?
But
right
anyway,
now? You see what's going on in our
we're
chat
not
right now?
Yeah, I'm over there. Hold on just a second. I'm looking. I've kind of got YouTube chat in front of me, and then also, if y'all want to head over to the No Gifts chat and talk in there a little bit. Also, of course, in that channel, please don't put any gifts because if you'll show them.
No, they can't anymore. They can't do that. So
yeah,
it's not an issue.
Can't. That's right. I forgot.
I've already straightened that out. They can't. I mean, it'll just show the link, but it won't go large. So they can put as many gifts as they like. They're just not going to show up in that particular channel.
So Johnny Five, our good friend Johnny Five, I think he used to be secretary. You know the thing. He changed his name up. He made a suggestion. He says, "Oh hell, I'm happy. What's the number to call in? Call. Roll it on the floor laughing." I think they should. And he said he thinks we should also play the Good Old Boys instrumental version to the opening of the show. Ha ha. So yeah, it's a good idea. I don't know. It copyright strikes, things like that.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
We're being real careful. That's why we went the direction we went.
Yeah. Are you having a hard time hearing me when I speak, Tiger? Can you hear me?
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Yeah, again, I don't know what that's from. My mic's on. So, you hear me now? Nope, you can't hear me.
Peter, can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Let me try something real quick. Pufus is in the waiting room. She might want to talk. Can you hear me now, Ron? Tiger, can you hear me?
Peter, I can't hear him coming through the headsets.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now, brother. Yep.
That's Discord.
Can you hear me?
That's the problem with Discord. I've heard you the whole time. I've been trying to talk to you. I know they've been hearing me for the most part because I can watch my mic audio.
Right.
But you're not hearing me, so we can't.
It just went silent for just a second. Okay. So that's where we're getting all these kinks worked out.
Hey, so PFAS is in the waiting room. You want to bring her in here real quick? And
yeah, I'm getting
I'll
ready
switch us over to the new mod. Hey, PFAS, we're about to bring you in.
Uh-oh, Pete. She just jumped out.
She's like, nope, I'm not doing that.
PFAS, come on.
You tease. PFAS is a T. There she is. Hold on.
Dragging her up.
Yeah, bring her up.
And I'm dragging her up, and now she's in the room with us, Pete.
All right, let me get this set up here. I've got to do this.
Kids?
Yeah.
Hey, PFAS, how you doing?
You're in here. Let me get you set up here. There you are. You're in the top right-hand corner.
Awesome. What's going on, kids?
Not much.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
What's on your mind tonight? You got anything to talk about? You want to talk about Gaza?
The only thing on my mind actually is Tom McDonald's video that he put out there and people's reactions to it. And more importantly, people thinking for themselves and not looking for other people. It's like, what's his reaction? What's her reaction?
So I am not.
Watch the video and have your own reaction. What do you think of it for yourself?
What was the video of? I apparently have not seen that video. What is it about?
Oh, this is somewhat insane. Okay, so Tom McDonald bought a rap. Can't think of the one. From Eminem.
Oh, okay.
He paid $100,000 for this beat. Okay, this non-fungible token for a beat. And so when he bought it, he started coming up with the lyrics himself. And according to one of the videos I saw, it like took him a while to figure out what he was going to do. And basically he gave an homage to Eminem, but there are a lot of people that are watching the video and thinking that he pissed on Eminem.
Oh, really?
And it's interesting because it has a lot to do with what people are thinking in this day and age. They see something and they take it as this way when it actually the creator made it. This is how I meant it to be consumed.
That reminds me of
Is there a better way to say it?
Is that
Somebody
is that is it called a wannabe official video? Tom McDonald. That's what I found.
Wannabe official video?
Tom McDonald, I think one of the best videos, if you want to just watch one video about what he meant and what the video means, is Mental, tell me who is that? The something crap. A
One
video
in a solid
from
auction. What's that? Oh my God, that was oh. Oh my God. Oh, our chat. Anyway, I'm not sharing that. Anyway, no, but this reminds me of a situation, people, where didn't Vanilla Ice run into this same situation with his beat? Like it almost sounded the same as somebody else's beat, and he got in a lot of trouble with that. That dun 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 dun, and it came from another song. And remember they had a lawsuit about it, and he's like, "No, mine is dun 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 dun, dun and yours is dun dun dun."
Yeah, I remember that.
That was goofy as hell, dude. I was like, really? Over two sounds you're gonna get all, yeah, but they're, oh my God. But yeah, I haven't seen this. I know who you're talking about now, and I haven't watched, but that's definitely something I'll watch in the future. See what's going on with that. What else is going on? Anything else besides that? What are your thoughts on what's going on over there in Israel right now? You even watch or paying attention to any of that? I know, weren't you watching that with us last night?
And I really want to understand about.
Well, they've been at war so long, I have a feeling they just don't know how to stop.
From a conservative perspective, I wonder who is right, but I don't think you can actually define who is right in this. It's like, if you bomb my house, I'm going to bomb your house back.
Yeah, I know, and then there
no
has to be
matter
some.
what the reason is.
There's always that revenge. Oh, that cycle of
no,
revenge.
it's not
right?
revenge. It's fighting back. It's.
Well, if somebody does something to you first, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is getting them back, right? You know, they did this to me, I'm going to get back at you. But that just creates a never-ending cycle.
I don't think that's the first thing that comes to people's minds. I really don't.
What do you think comes to their mind?
Because there's sometimes when people will attack you and they aren't actually trying to hurt you. They're just being assholes. Oh, sorry. Can I say that?
No, you can say
Live?
that. No, yeah. I mean,
okay.
So my pronoun is asshole, just so you know.
I heard that about you.
Yeah. I go by pronoun.
My pronoun is bitch, so it's okay.
I don't know if we'll catch a strike for that or not. Hell, I don't even know how the feed looks right now, so we're just playing this by ear. It's something to do tonight. We wanted to have fun, get a good test in tonight, and talk about whatever. I guess, let's see here. Yeah, I don't know. These guys over in Israel, it sucks. Sucks, man.
Johnny Five says, cue in Dennis Leary's asshole song.
I'm an asshole.
Hacho wants to chime in on the, I think he supports Israel because they're not trying to blow us up. Not yet, Roscoe, but we'll get there.
Yeah, I know. Give Biden enough time, he'll get them blowing us
Yeah.
up, huh? Definitely. But
Mm.
yeah. So, what do you think? You say that they're not trying to hurt us, but just being assholes. But literally, the other person that actually makes the other person, they don't know what the intent of the other person is. So then they're thinking, yeah, I'm going to get these guys back for blowing up my house. Right? I know you say that, but I know if somebody blew up my house, my first reaction would be, and if I survived it, I would definitely be, screw you, I'm going to get you back, I don't know. I think that's my initial reaction. What do you think your actual reaction? I guess you never know until you're in that situation, but you don't think...
Do you think that that's actually the response of Black Lives Matter? They're like, you know what? You guys screwed us over 200 years ago, so now we're going to screw you over.
I think that's exactly what they're thinking right now. I'm afraid, because I don't know if... See, I believe there's a good part of Black Lives Matter, and I think there is another part of Black Lives Matter that has been twisted. I believe that initially it was started for a good purpose, but I think it was hijacked somewhere along the way and made to be something that it's... But this is my opinions, of course. I mean, I just see what they've done along the last year, and I'm like, how does this help your cause? There has to be something going on there that doesn't make sense, because you hear half of them saying one thing, and then you hear half of them saying another. They are trying to peacefully protest in certain times, and then it just all of a sudden goes awry, right? Like, I don't know if it's because Antifa comes in or a bad element of Black Lives Matter comes in. I see them running up and down the streets peacefully protesting. That happens. But all of a sudden it turns into this other thing that's just, I don't think was what they intended it to be, and it just started happening.
And I completely agree with you. I wonder about George Soros, and suppose he has nothing to do with it. Okay, suppose he has nothing to do with anything right now. But there had to be a point in his mind where he thought that what he was doing was for the betterment of society, and somehow it just went.
Well, I think with George Soros, he's old. I mean, he's during World War II, during Germany, right? During that whole event, he was in part of that. And I think...
He was?
I believe so. If I'm not mistaken, he was...
He's Hungarian.
Hungarian, but he was
born in Hungary.
He got caught up in all that in some form or fashion. I don't know the whole underlying story, and I don't want to spread false information or anything like that. But I know somehow that war affected him. And I think from what he extrapolated from that war, whatever happened to him during that time frame is what's caused him to be the way he is now. Now, he wants the world to go in a certain direction, and I see that from him. I see what he does and who he supports and stuff like that, and that's his prerogative. But I think the underlying cause of that was that war. I think that's what drives him that way. So, in a perfect world, I would say he might be on the right track, but he should already know this isn't a perfect world. There's a bunch of trash out there, and if we don't, somebody's got to pick it up. You can't just say, oh, we're just going to throw a blanket over it and it's going to go away. It reminds me of a hoarder, right? They just throw a blanket over something and then stack something neatly on top of it, the trash, right? And it just keeps piling up. If you don't clean the underlying problem out and fix it first, then you're just going to be dumping stuff on top of crap, and eventually it'll fall over. So I think his heart might be in the right place, but you don't fix most problems with your heart, you fix them with your brain. Well, you can always...
I just want to verify you're saying that George Soros's heart might be in the right place. I want to make sure that's what I heard.
I don't know that that's the case. I think I don't know everything about George Soros. I think maybe he's basing what he does off of a perfect society. From what I've seen of it.
No, he's basing what he does on money. It's all money.
Maybe it is. I don't know enough about him, honestly. I just,
and
some
I'm
of the
not saying
things that I
money is
see him
bad.
doing, some of the things that I see him doing, pushing for these agenda, maybe that is the underlying, maybe it is all, I mean, I know it's got to be something like that, right? He's a billionaire 10 times over, but I don't know what his ultimate goal is, and I guess that helps him out, right? If nobody knows what it really is, he doesn't really make it known to everybody. But I don't know. What's your thoughts on that, Tiger? Maybe you know more about him than I do. I personally,
He reminds me of Fred Phelps, personally.
Hey, go ahead, Pipos. I'm sorry.
Fred Phelps. You know who that is, Tiger?
I know the name, yes.
Okay. What were your thoughts on this? I can't be the only one talking about him.
Soros, in all honesty, okay, yeah, he came up through some tough times in Hungary, especially with the oppression in Germany, oppressing the Jews and things like that. But with Soros, in my thought process, it's about the almighty dollar and control, okay? At the end of the day, this guy's got more money than he knows, than he's got sense. And when people get there, and I've seen this happen many a times, they take some of the ideologies of the perfect world, or as what they think would be the perfect world, which doesn't mean it's our perfect world, okay, and what we would want. But they try to influx that out into society and create
perfect example, real quick.
Government.
Perfect example.
One style government.
Bill Gates. Perfect example. Perfect example. Bill Gates.
Speed up. I'm not going to be able to hear you, sir.
Wow.
Bill Gates. Can you hear me now?
Bill Gates is another one. They're turning to philanthropist, whatever that word is. Pipos, can you pronounce that for me?
Philanthropist.
Yeah.
Now you got me tongue-tied. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. But yeah, Bill Gates would be another example for me. He sees he's got so much money. He sees the world through the lenses of the way he wants to see it as a perfect world. And that's what I mean by George Soros doing that. He has so much money that yes, he's going to profit off of it, but he's thinking of it as a perfect world for him. Not necessarily.
I wish there was a video on me right now, because I'm shaking my head so violently, because Bill Gates just wants control. Bill Gates is, it's like, let me donate money to people so that they like me. No, Bill Gates is an idiot. If people are listening to Bill Gates about the vaccine, about anything, they need to take a step back and look at the big picture. Okay, I said out loud and everything. I apologize.
No, you're good. You got it off your shoulders. Hey, and that's kind of what we want here, is we're trying to talk about everything, not just one thing in general. And I'm not necessarily going to agree with you, and you're not necessarily going to agree with me on everything. But hey, talking about it is where we learn a little bit more about each other and maybe change. It's not always going to change your mind. It could change your mind. You could look at things a little differently. And if you start thinking about things, you might come up with a different approach to looking at it. Like you say, you want everybody to at least learn on their own terms, right? And just talking to somebody else, you might be able to learn something like that. But, well, thank you very much for coming on, Pipos. It was very, very nice speaking with you tonight. Very nice. I mean, if you got anything else, we are wide open.
Oh,
she's gone. All right. Well, anybody else want to come on? I don't know what happened to our guest tonight.
Yeah. So Michelle said that she said, George, I'm reading on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
Said George Soros has a serious history His interpretation of a perfect society, his world, he said so. Okay. And, I kind of remember hearing a report about him saying something like that.
Yeah.
So I would, it's just, I think what we're trying to say, or what I was trying to get across is, it may be his world, but it's not my world. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not what I want for my world, but he's influxing that onto us, and he's using his money to be able to push
it's his agenda, right? It's what he wants.
Exactly. Exactly.
It might not be, damn if it's good for you as long as it's good for me, right? That's the whole concept.
Right, exactly. And how am I going to profit and benefit,
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping we'd see Kate in here. I was hoping we'd see Kate in here.
Messenger, she might be busy. I can't.
Yeah, I did send her. I think I sent her a text message. Let me look here.
Yep.
Yeah, I did. I sent her a
guys,
text
how's the feed looking out there? I'm not able to judge it.
And I'm catching a little bit of echo from you right now, Peter.
What in the hell? Oh. So if you look in the other, chat, the gifts chat, I've got it off, but it's just us right now. But if you look in the other gift chat, Honcho put a picture, because I have to look up. I have to look up like this to see the overview screen. He took a snapshot of my beard, my full beardage. It's a full beard, alright? I don't have no old man beard. This is a full grow here, baby. This is a year's worth of growth. Ever since my cancer, I had this thing growing, so my wife won't let me shave it. Yeah, you can kiss my butt. I'm throwing up on my beard. I'm here. Katie says she's here.
Right now, you're gonna be catching some syrup and molasses with that beard.
Katie, if you would go into the GOBN Live waiting room, and we'll have Rod.
I just sent her a text letting her know.
She says she's here.
I know. I got it on my.
Anyway, all right. So I'm gonna put it back on just this for now.
Oh, she said she'll be there in a second. She's doing something.
Oh, lovely. She was here. No, she's not.
The lady of many talents to screaming and sheetrocking at the same time.
I know, right? She can do her own
show. And then watching 5 kids.
No crap.
Then she homeschools.
Dang. Yeah, she's an amazing person.
Man, I tell you right now, my head be through a wall right now.
I know, right? Especially doing a home remodel at the same time. Good Lord.
I mean, it's hard enough dealing with Honcho giving us hell. Man, there's 5 of them.
Exactly. There she is. You can grab her and drop her in. Got it?
There she is. Perfect.
All right.
Why, hello, Miss Kate.
Hello. How are you?
Wonderful. We're going to be checking your volume. Make sure somebody can put the chat on the chat so you can hear Kate, please.
We're good. I show her coming across really well. So, how are you doing tonight, Kate?
I'm doing well. I'm alive.
Good. Every day above ground is a good day, is what I say. So.
Yeah. Well, pregnancy is not easy, and sometimes it kicks you in the butt, and today was one of those days.
I'm sure that. Remember when my wife was pregnant, that was rough on her on days. So. Well,
yeah.
So wanted to have you on tonight, see what your thoughts. Well, first of all, I know you're streaming this court case that's going on right now. Why don't you explain which one you're showing right now?
So I am showing the Ahmad Abris case. So right now it's just the pretrial motions, and there are 3 defendants in this case. If you're not super familiar with it, it is the case where 2 gentlemen chased after Mr. Arbery and
the son, right?
yes, the father and the son, and then a truck driver joined in, or a gentleman who's Mr. Brady, joined in and ended up kind of blocking Mr. Avery off with his truck, and the prosecutor is charging all 3 of them with murder charges, and then they're also all 3 being charged on a federal level with a hate crime. So they had their pre-trial motions this week on Wednesday as well as Thursday, and we listened into it. And some of the pre-trial motions were pretty normal, like evidentiary stuff, what's going to be allowed, what isn't going to be allowed. But there was also a few motions that were pretty shocking. And I think the most shocking of all of them was Mr. Brady's attorney came on, and the investigator of the case kind of had acted like Mr. Brady was just going to be a witness to what happened. Obviously, he did not have a weapon. He did not shoot or really participate other than blocking Mr. Avery from being able to run away. And he was only there for about a minute of the entire encounter with Mr. Avery's. So they came out and basically said that the investigator had said he was going to be a witness, and he gave his statement willingly and openly and went through everything willingly and openly under the impression that he was not going to be facing charges, and then turned around and they ended up charging him. And they said that there was no deal made, but the investigator admitted on the stand that he had discussed the fact that he was just going to be a witness with him and a witness to the crimes of the father and the son pair.
Okay, so hold on one second.
I have a feeling, especially with the way that the judge was acting after the investigator had come and testified, that the charges against him are most likely going to get dropped, because
Can you hear me?
there are statutory laws and there are, other case laws like a witness to a crime, that any statements given are that of the witness of the crime and cannot be used against you in court for any of the parts of which you could have been charged for. And so all of his statements would have to be thrown out, which essentially throws out the entire case, because he was never Mirandized while giving this testimony.
So what happened with...
Did you hear me?
I heard everything you said. You came through. You lost me. I couldn't...
Hello?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Oh, Discord is giving me...
I can hear you.
Can you talk to Kate?
I can't hear. Hey, Kate, can you hear me talking?
Yes, I can hear you, Tiger.
Can you hear P-Dub?
I cannot hear P-Dub.
Cannot hear P-Dub. But P-Dub, I can hear you.
Can you hear me now, Kate?
I can hear you now, yes.
See, it's the... Yeah, okay. I know why. Can you hear me, Tiger?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's because of your mic that she couldn't hear me. So, because I had to open up Google because you couldn't hear me through Discord. So anyway, no, what I was going to ask you was, the son actually is the one that fired the shot, right? But they were fighting over the weapon during that encounter, right? That's when he was shot. Is that
right?
Correct? Okay.
Well, and they were also trying to say that they had shot multiple times at Mr. Arbery. Now,
he was shot with a shotgun, basically, wasn't he? It was like a snub-nosed shotgun.
He was.
That's why, I mean, that's
and
like the worst thing.
They were trying to say that it was, multiple entry points, and it came out also in the pretrial motions, but it's actually not multiple entry points. It's because the type of shotgun that they were using had bird pellets in it, and so it,
buckshot.
Upon contact, it kind of sprays. And so it makes multiple entry points because that's the type of ammunition that they were using. And when watching the video, you would say that it fired off 3 or 4 times, but in actuality, it was only fired once.
Yeah.
And
At
what they're
close
trying to
range,
say
too.
is that it was self-defense and an accident, essentially, because they were fighting over the weapon. They were trying to get this person detained. They had reasonable suspicion that he
I mean, they
had
had
been
him on
breaking and
video.
entry. There's a case log a mile long of shoplifting charges, breaking and entry, trespassing, and other things against Mr. Arbery. And as this information And it's sad because I've had conversation with other people, and there's a presumption of innocence in the United States. That's how our judicial system is built. And a lot of people have watched that 30-second clip, but they don't understand that prior to that 30-second clip, there were 3 other instances on that same day where the father and the son had come in contact with Mr. Arbery, and that they had this reasonable suspicion to believe that he had committed a crime. And in fact, they had witnessed him leaving a house that he should not have been
They have
in.
him on video,
So
right?
at minimum, he was trespassing. So they had the right under Georgia law to place him under a citizen's arrest. And that is what the defense is arguing. And I know that some people are saying, well, it's going to take a lot
Can
for
you
you
hear
to
me,
prove
Tiger?
to me that they're innocent. It shouldn't take anything, because
Can you hear me now,
in the
Tiger?
United States, you're innocent until proven guilty, not guilty until proven innocence. And it is on the prosecutor to prove your guilt, right? And if you can't prove the guilt beyond a shadow of a doubt, or you can't prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, then you don't get convicted. And the hate crimes were also brought up, and they technically have 270 days to go to trial after they've been charged. Now, the problem with that is 270 days is at the exact same time that this current trial is supposed to start. So are we going to have a federal trial and a state trial going on at the exact same time? And so there was an argument in court today about that as well. And they would not allow for a postponement of trial in the state trial. The judge decided not to allow for it. So on October 18th, they are going to do jury selection. And then the judge also heard motions to divide the cases instead of trying them all 3 at once. And he has not made a definitive decision on that. So I think that over this next week, as we learn more information, they do have depositions that are due in 20 days for a few of the motions. It's going to be very interesting to see whether the hate crime is going to stick, and whether or not Mr. Brady's charges will stick as well, considering the fact that the investigator interrogated him as a witness and he was not Mirandized while being interrogated.
Yeah. Oh man, I know you can't hear me. Let's see if this works.
So, Pete, it looks like your mic is just constantly on, but I'm not hearing anything come out of you.
Yeah,
Not my mic,
just I'll tell you what. It's something to do with his Discord, because my voice connect right now is
Did I
horrible.
explain that well enough?
Oh, you absolutely
Yes,
did.
thank you, Kate.
Absolutely.
Sorry about
Can
that.
you, there
Sorry
it
about
goes.
that.
You can probably hear me now. Okay, so
Yes,
Kate,
I can hear you
Yeah, I can see when it goes down, and I'm wondering why it's doing that. But so my question to you was, what do you think the odds? So this is going to trial, right? I mean, it's already set for trial.
Yes,
These are just
October
pre-trial
18th.
arguments, and that's it.
Pre-trial motions, which are pretty typical. Yeah. So they're, like what is allowed, discovery, that
When
kind of
was-
stuff, what they are.
Yeah, when was jury selection coming? Do you know?
The jury selection will be on October the 18th.
Okay.
That will be the beginning of jury selection.
That'll be interesting.
Now,
to watch.
there was a motion to move it over a few counties, which we can compare that to the Chauvin trial. Now, a case study says typically with high-profile cases, you'll move it at least 2 to 4 counties away from the county of the incidents. And so they've already requested that. Now, in the Chauvin trial, they chose not to have a change of venue. I have a feeling that this particular judge is going to want to change a venue to ensure that the trial does not end up in appeals and that it is as fair as possible. Now, this particular judge seems a lot more applicable to change in venue, to ensuring that everything goes by the letter of the law, following case study, following, all of the procedural rules and stuff. So I would not be surprised one bit if we saw a change of venue, and I would not be surprised one bit if we saw sequestration of the jury as well with this particular judge. He seems to be wanting to make sure that he crosses all the T's, dots all the I's, reads through all of the case study. He wasn't jumping to any significant conclusions. He did not really he didn't judge on any of the real motions other than one or two. He said that, I need briefings done. You have 20 days to give the briefings. He said that he wants to make sure he has an ample amount of time to review all of the case study, all the case laws that were brought up during the motions hearings. And so he did not make motions on really any of the 13 motions that were filed during the pretrial. So it sounds like he's really going to take his time to ensure that he is following the law and following what case law dictates as well, which makes me very happy, because it sounds like he's a pretty even keel. He's going to give everybody a fair shot kind of trial.
I didn't get to watch.
Hopefully, that they will get a fair trial. It's kind of like, unlike the Chauvin case, it was predetermined before I ever think they even did the opening statement. But that's just my opinion. I think he may have done something wrong, but I don't think he deserved what he got, especially after everything that I've been seeing and hearing, and after pre-trial and stuff like that. After the trial and stuff like that. So.
I didn't get to watch the second day.
You were talking earlier, I think we were talking last night, and folks, I want you to know that a lot of times, if you go into our Discord, you go into the Funhouse Talk, we sometimes have 4, 5, 6 people, sometimes it's 2 or 3 of us. You'll really get some really good information in there also. Kate and I and Burbank were in there late last night a little bit, so we talked probably till 10 o'clock my time, which was early for Kate because she's on the West Coast. But I was about ready to, my head was about to fall on the pillow. But anyway, that's another opportunity. And Kate, you said we were talking last night. We kind of touched on we were at the beginning of the show. We were talking about Soros a little bit and his divulge into things. But you made a very interesting point last night, and I kind of was looking it up while you were talking. Soros owns, you were talking about Buffett, and we were talking about Soros, and Soros is big into the rail industry. Is that correct?
Yeah, so Warren Buffett and Soros are both big into the rail industry. And the one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that Soros owns approximately, I believe it's between 60 and 70%, I don't have the figures directly in front of me, of all of the oil transporting railways, rail companies in the country. So by eliminating the Keystone Pipeline and other pipelines in our country, and if you're following it all, Gretchen Whitmer has basically closed down one of the major pipelines that we already had functioning out of Canada going into her state. And what it does is it makes it so that gas will be transported one of 2 ways. And it's either going to be through rail or it will be through trucks. Now, cost efficiency is doing it through rail because we already have the rail system set up and Soros owns that rail. I did a little bit more research into this today, and he stands to make upwards of $500 million a year if the Keystone Pipeline is not built and the pipeline that Gretchen Whitmer is trying to close down. Soros' company stands to profit upwards of $500 million a year by taking over that oil transportation. And then Warren Buffett stands to make between 80 and 100 million a year. So it makes you wonder if
that's what Biden was trying to do.
If that's what the administration ultimately is trying to do, that it's not actually about environmental things, because if you look at it, you are more likely to have oil spills on a railway than you are on a pipeline. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yep. That's why they supported him, because it fit their narrative, right? What they wanted.
Yep, exactly.
So, and all the people bought it, hook, line, and sinker.
Right. Well, and then the other thing is if you look into these, electric cars and the push for electric cars and the lithium plants, you've got Soros and you've got Bill Gates and McDaniels.
McDonald's.
They're
going to give
all
them the
three
Whopper,
of
huh? Well, that's Burger King.
Oh my Lord.
McDaniels. He's another. McDaniels is another big contributor to the DNC and the Democratic Party and stuff. And if you look into it, they actually own quite a bit of stock in the businesses that get lithium from Africa. And they even, I believe it's Bill Gates in Africa owns one of the lithium mines. And so again, who is it that's going to benefit from these things? You have to look at it. Is it really about the environmental impact? Because mining lithium is actually more harmful to the environment than mining oil is. And that's been proven. That's scientifically proven. And lithium's harder to get out of the mines. And most of the lithium mines are done by children, 8 to 14 years old. You have those are the people, those are the ones that go into the mines because the caverns that the lithium is in are very small, and it's very difficult for a grown adult to get into. And so they send children into it. And if you look into like the death statistics and stuff like that, you're looking at upwards of 150 to 250 children every 6 months dying in the lithium mines. But that's not something mainstream media talks about. That's not something that you hear about when you talk about electric vehicles. Why isn't it? It's because nobody wants to talk about child labor. They don't want to talk about where this stuff comes from. They'd rather sit there and say, oh, this is better for the environment. But is it really better for the environment? We could look into windmills. Now, windmills, in order for them to actually be energy efficient, so to cover the costs of making the windmill.
Hold on. Windmill cars?
No, just windmills in general.
I mean, but we're talking about cars being lithium batteries for cars.
Oh, we're talking. Yes, and we're talking about. We're talking about just climate control and the climate things in general. So you've got the lithium batteries for your hybrid vehicles and your battery operated vehicles, but then you also have your windmills that they're pushing. There's the offshore windmill project that Biden just approved that's going to dump almost $700 billion into it for it to get up and running. And just to put you guys to give you an idea, for one windmill, it takes 5 years for it to produce the amount of energy that it costs to build that one windmill, if that one windmill has zero need for maintenance.
Oh, wow.
Think about that for a minute. 5 years. Now, the average life of a windmill is between 7 and 8 years. So essentially, the most amount of, the most profitable amount of energy that you can get from it is maybe 2 years of energy from it, which doesn't even equal 1/2 of the amount of energy that was put into it. And that's if there's no maintenance whatsoever. Now, if there's an oil leak or one of the blades has to be changed, you're looking at it making no additional energy, and it actually just extenuating more energy than it can create.
Wow.
No, I found something very, very amazing. It's also talking about solar panels and stuff like that. John Kerry was testifying before the Senate or the House. One of those I can't remember what the committee it was, but anyway, he finally had to admit that a lot of the solar panels are not only just being made in China, but they're also being made by slave labor, and that's going to back him up. I think that's going to start backing things up a little bit, especially with, some of the activists that we have out there that are pushing really hard with this. There are also those that are against the slave labor over what they call what do they call that group of Chinese people that they make slaves out of them, the Uyghurs or something like that. And, that's a shame, that's a shame, and it's one of those where if they brought this type of manufacturing to this country, flourishing good paying jobs to people, I wouldn't have as much disagreement with it, but knowing where these products are going to be coming from, to actually put this in place, it's a waste. I mean, all we're doing is filtering money out there, in my opinion, and just the agenda, this Columbia pipeline, this whole fiasco, has really, really, in all due respect, they started using that card the other day, and it's amazing how they can just spin it into their advantage, and all it is just padding the pockets of the people that support it, and that kind of stuff, and it's just driving me insane. Pete, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me now?
I was having trouble hearing you. Fig said that she says I can't hear you, Pete.
Yeah, they can hear me now. They should be able to at least.
Yeah, you're a lot better than when you were talking.
Yeah.
I had to. So I'm running the system off a hotel Wi-Fi. All right, guys.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to minimize the amount of overall web pages I have open, the browser pages I have open, and every time I try to open something or renew something, my Discord voice, which we rely on for all three of us to hear each other, just drops right out, and that's also what you're hearing in the live feed. So just another test, something we're going to have to work around.
Are you running your Discord through the app or through online?
I'm running it through the app.
Try running it through online. For some reason, the app takes more internet than running it through online does.
If I get away from Google, I will have a better chance. If I go over to Firefox, I've noticed that everything runs a lot smoother, especially when you're streaming. Google tends to drag your computer way down and uses up I don't know what it is about Google, if it's all the crap they run in the background for you, but every time I run it on Firefox, it's run smoothly with no issues. But yes, I do need to try to run the Discord, like you said, but I'm going to have to make adjustments. If I start doing it that way, I'm going to have to rearrange all of our setups here. So we'll figure it out. But that way I'm only using Google on one thing. I'll be using it on our meets and everything. We'll get it figured out. That's why we test. So, I mean, I know you can probably you can hear me through Discord right now, but here in a minute, it'll just drop out for some strange reason. So, but we're running we got 5 minutes left here. Do you have any, before we go, I don't know, what are your thoughts on Benghazi? I mean, not Benghazi, not Benghazi. Sorry, Gaza right now, and what's going on in Israel with all these crazy
well, it's definitely crazy. I'm a little bit worried, and here's why. You've got the Middle East is somewhere where we're trying to pull out of right now, and the more that comes up over there, the less likely it is that we're just going to be able to pull out of the Middle East. And I have a feeling that we're going to end up sending a lot more troops over there, sadly. I do know that the foreign...
sent some more over there? I think they did.
They did. They just sent some more over there. But...
like 1,700, right? Or something like that? Or 17?
Yeah. It was roughly, I think, between 1,600 and 1,700 troops. But I know that on Monday, the Senate Foreign Relations Committee is going to be meeting, and they are going to be discussing what's going on in Israel and coming up with recommendations for Biden. So I'm going to watch that hearing pretty closely. They have an open hearing and then obviously a closed door hearing as well, which goes over more of the classified information. I think that if we're going to talk about Gaza and we're going to talk about Hamas and we're going to talk about Israel, that hearing is probably going to give us the most information. Why they're waiting for Monday to have this hearing to come up with recommendation absolutely blows my mind, but I have a feeling it's because nobody's in Washington, D.C. So I'm hoping that they somehow miraculously do this hearing this weekend at some point in time. They should have done it yesterday or today, but we lead the world. Do you know what I mean? Like, people look for us for guidance.
We claim
And our government is not giving any guidance, and what's happening is we literally just see Israel and Gaza and just going at it between the two of each other. And Jordan joined in the other day as well. You've got how many? 1,500? Is that how many missiles they've said have been fired?
It's a lot.
And
1,500, yeah.
I just watched
and then Syria.
Oh my God.
Syria fired another. Syria was firing them as well. And the problem with Syria firing them is they had a couple of misfires that landed in their country and killed 3 of their citizens. And you go, how the heck does that happen? Can somebody explain that to me?
Let me ask you, do you think it was the country of Syria and their military, or was it the Hamas militia or whatever militants or whatever you want to call them, that maybe shot from Syria over to Israel?
It's not clear. They're not really being very clear of who is exactly the ones. I know Hamas is sending them out of Gaza, but it's
and then
we saw yesterday coming out of Hanukkah, that the Palestinian troops in Hanukkah and the Palestinian officers in Hanukkah are being attacked by Israelites. So it's just, the whole thing is a mess. And they estimated that there was 215 buildings on fire within 2 hours yesterday evening, between midnight and 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, that's just crazy. And then you're seeing these videos where, even when they shoot down, so the Iron Dome does its job and they shoot the missiles down, the debris still has to fall. And some of those missiles weigh 200 to 300 pounds. And if they fall and hit somebody, it's probably going to freaking kill somebody, It's not just the missiles themselves being sent out. It's the debris that comes down if the missile is caught. It's the aftermath of everything that's happening in the country. It's the uprising of the citizens. It's the uprising of Hamas. It's such a horrific situation over there. And we see people like AOC and Ilham Omar, basically making fun of Israel and calling Israel terrorist when they didn't even start this. Hamas did. So I honestly feel like the world is looking at us and laughing at us, and I'm embarrassed about our government. Nobody's standing up and saying anything. The only person that I've really seen stand up and say a damn word is Maxwell in the House in a 1-minute speech, basically completely destroying the Biden administration over Israel. And then you see the Democrats getting up and saying that, oh, well, we shouldn't go and support Israel. We should go in and support Jordan, and we should support Gaza. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? You look back 270 days ago, and we were signing peace treaties with Israel, Jordan, Syria, and Iran. What happened in 270 days that has basically eliminated these peace treaties that Trump signed? That's basically made it so that the entire freaking country is falling apart. Someone fucking explain to me what the Biden, excuse my language, what the Biden administration is doing about this.
Hey, FCC is gonna be on her ass. Watch out. No, yeah, I get it. It's frustrating. Nobody's doing what they need to be doing. We need to be taking care of our country. We're really not. We don't have the leadership we need. We've fallen short. But I think a lot of that too is who really wants to deal with all that crap. You got to deal with all these people up there. It just needs. I hate to say it, but the only way to do it is kick them all out, start over, say you no more term limits, no more sticking around past your expiration date. Let's start getting people who actually give a shit about this country in there, and let's stop dicking around because China's on her heels. I don't know if you know this or not, guys, and Russia's not doing too bad here lately. I think we've definitely given them. They're not the greatest, don't get me wrong, but we've definitely not kept them in a position where they're not going to be on our. They're going to be on our heels sooner or later. China's going to end up passing us. Russia's going to be right behind them. We might be fighting with Russia just to keep second place. So we need to do something different here.
Right.
We need to stop playing politics and we need to start playing smart hardball. And that's about it.
Right, exactly. And you guys, there's 21 Democratic senators up for re-election in 2022 compared to
they're scared.
Compared to only 11 Republican senators who are up for re-election in 2022. We have a huge opportunity in 2022 to just absolutely dominate the entire Senate, and we have a massive opportunity to dominate the House of Representatives as well. And we need to get rid of people like Nancy Pelosi, Ilhan Omar. We need to get rid of Chucky Schumer. We need to get rid of all of those crazies. And the thing is that we have Elizabeth Warren, we have Dianne Feinstein, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Kristen Sinema, and John Tester, who are all crazy Democrats. They're all up for re-election in the Senate in 2022. And all we need is a good Republican because those districts are pretty split. You look at like John Tester's district in Montana, it's a pretty split district and it's split almost evenly down the middle. And if we get the Republicans out in force and we get a good Republican in, that will be an easy win for us. Same with the Arizona position with Kristen Sinema. Same with Dianne Feinstein's. If you look at Dianne Feinstein's district, the district directly next to hers in California, it flipped to a Republican this year, this last election. So all we have to do is continue that same trend. But people, you got to get out and you actually have to freaking vote. I know people don't vote in 2022, but this is the year that we have to get out and vote.
Yeah, that's going to make the difference. You know, it's going to make it. You know, everybody says. You know, I hear the battle when I post. You know, if you want it to change, okay, then you're going to have to get out there and take a friend, talk to a friend, get them out there, get them to vote, okay? And they go, well, they're just going to cheat and win. Well,
they're not.
No, they're not.
You just gotta, you gotta trust the system. And yes, there was some irregularities this last time around, and if they were irregularities, hopefully this Arizona audit stuff will catch them, and then they've got some other stuff going on. They'll catch them.
Well, and here's the other thing that you guys have to think about. 2020.
I don't want to go down another rabbit hole. We're about to finish up here. I just want to.
Oh, no worries, no worries. We could talk about it another day.
Yes, we got some more shows coming up. We're already running over here a little bit. I just wanted to close out and get Rod to close out, and but like I said, you know, we got to get out. You just do your thing. Trust that things will work out. You know, just keep going. Don't give up. You know, people are starting to get defeatist, and when you get defeatist, you start to just say, "Who cares?" You can't do that. You got to get out there. You got to make sure your votes count. And if there was irregularities, if there was something that happened, there are people out there that are looking. It's not like they're not looking. It might not be brought up every day like you'd like to hear, but it's happening in the background. So I want to close out. Thank you very much tonight, Kate, for joining us. We're definitely going to continue to have you on. This was a good test. I don't know how it turned out. We're definitely going to watch this over. I know we're having mic issues and this and that, but we'll watch this again. Do you have any final words, Tiger, before we close out?
Yeah, just thank you, everybody. P+, Kate, thank y'all for calling in. Really appreciate a lot of the chats here. Michelle, thank you for all your contributions in the YouTube chat. Johnny 5 on YouTube and also in Discord. So we really appreciate the participation. Couple of things, I want to kind of push it out there. We're just kind of feeling through this, like P-Dub says, but we really want to gear this towards y'all's topic of conversation, what y'all want to talk about. Make those suggestions in the Discord. I do keep an eye in the YouTube chat a little bit, but that's the Discord chat is going to be primarily where we're paying attention and really contribute, right? Share this out to everybody. I know it's just a test, but we've got some really good things cooking. We've got some interviews coming down the pipeline. Thanks to our soldier, one of our soldiers. I call her a soldier, just like Mental Eucalyptus is one of our soldiers. Big, I'm loving you. I'm going to get you on this show, and I'm going to get you to chatting. I'll probably get a frowny face here in just a minute for that. But really, thank y'all, everybody. You want to talk about a specific comment, call in, suggest it in the chat if you don't want to call in,
Email.
and we'll have a good time.
Got our email.
Email us. Yep. 143gobin@gmail.com. I mean, it's real simple, real easy.
Gmail.
Yep. GOBN, baby. Gobbin, baby. So anyway, thank y'all for participating tonight. P-Dub?
All right, we're going to close out tonight. Thank y'all again. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Middle of the Road. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yep.
We'll talk to you next time. Good night.
About a 3-minute exit show for you.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Peace out.